Before the world began, before gods, mortals, or even time itself, there was only chaos, a vast, formless void where nothing yet existed. From this emptiness stirred the first forces of creation. Out of chaos came Gaia, the earth, solid and nurturing, the first mother of all. Then emerged Tartarus, the deep abyss below, and Eros, the primal spirit of love and desire, the power that drives life to take form. Gaia, alone beneath the endless void, longed for companionship. From herself, she brought forth Uranus, the sky, vast and star-strewn. Together, earth and sky embraced, and from their union came the first beings of power, the mighty Titans. 12 in number, they were the children of creation itself. Oceanus, the endless river; Hyperion, father of the sun and moon; Iapetus, ancestor of mankind; and Cronus, the youngest, shrewdest, and most ambitious. Alongside them came their sisters, Thea, Rhea, Themis, Mnemosyne, Phoebe, and Tethys, each destined to shape the cosmos in her own way. But Gaia and Uranus bore other children, terrifying ones: the Cyclopes, one-eyed smiths of fire and thunder, and the Hecatoncheires, giants with 100 hands and 50 heads, whose strength could shake the heavens. Uranus, fearing their power, cast them deep within Gaia's womb, imprisoning them in darkness. The earth groaned in pain and anger, her sorrow turning to vengeance. From stone and metal she forged a great sickle and called upon her sons to rise against their cruel father. Only one answered: Cronus. When Uranus descended once more to lie with Gaia, Cronus struck from the shadows and, with a single blow, overthrew him. From the blood of the fallen sky sprang the Furies and the giants, and from the foam of the sea where his essence fell, a new being rose, Aphrodite, goddess of love, born from the violence of creation itself. With Uranus defeated, Cronus became ruler of all. He took his sister Rhea as queen, and the Titans ruled over a new golden age. Yet, even as he grasped his father's throne, a whisper of prophecy haunted him, that one day a child of his own would rise to cast him down, just as he had done before. And so began the eternal cycle of power, betrayal, and destiny, the heartbeat of all Greek mythology. With Uranus gone, Cronus rose to power as the new ruler of the cosmos. The world entered what poets would one day call the Golden Age, a time when gods and titans walked the earth in harmony, and the air itself shimmered with peace. Under Cronus and his queen, Rhea, rivers flowed with abundance, and mortals lived without toil or sorrow. It was said that in those days the earth bore fruit unbidden, and humankind knew neither war nor hunger. Yet even in paradise, shadows of fear began to stir, for as his father had fallen, Cronus too was haunted by prophecy. Gaia and Uranus had foretold that one day one of his own children would overthrow him, just as he had done before. And so, when Rhea bore her first child, Cronus acted swiftly. In his terror, he seized the newborn and swallowed it whole. One by one, each time a child was born, Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, Poseidon, he devoured them, determined to outwit fate itself. Rhea's cries went unanswered, her children lost within the depths of their father's immortal body. The skies darkened, and the laughter of the Golden Age began to fade. But destiny cannot be cheated forever. When Rhea became pregnant once more, she sought counsel from her mother, Gaia. Together, they conspired to save the unborn child. On the island of Crete, far from Cronus's sight, Rhea gave birth to a son, Zeus. She swaddled a stone in cloth and presented it to Cronus, who, blind with paranoia, swallowed it without question. Meanwhile, the true child was hidden deep in a mountain cave, tended by nymphs and guarded by spirits who drowned out his cries with the clash of shields and drums. There, amid sacred goats and golden honey, Zeus grew strong and cunning. When he reached manhood, he sought out his grandmother Gaia, who gave him counsel and a potion of power. Disguised as a servant, Zeus returned to his father's court and tricked him into drinking the draught. Cronus convulsed, and from his mouth emerged the 5 children he had swallowed, alive and immortal. Thus was the prophecy fulfilled, and the children of Cronus, Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, Hestia, Demeter, and Hera, stood united against the Titans. The Golden Age was ending. The sky trembled, the earth cracked, and the first great war of the gods began. The Titanomachy, a battle that would shake the very bones of creation. The war between the Titans and the younger gods, known as the Titanomachy, raged for 10 long years. The heavens burned, and the earth trembled beneath their fury. From the peaks of Mount Olympus, Zeus led his siblings, the Olympians, against Cronus and the ancient Titans who ruled from Mount Othrys. The clash of generations tore through the fabric of creation. Mountains were hurled like stones, seas boiled, and thunder split the sky. At first, the war was without end. The Titans, older and mightier, held firm under Cronus's command, while the young Olympians fought with the ferocity of those who had everything to gain and everything to lose. Gaia watched from below, her heart heavy with sorrow at seeing her children wage war against one another. And yet, she knew the world must change. The age of Titans had grown stagnant, and a new order was meant to rise. Guided by Gaia, Zeus descended into the depths of Tartarus, where the imprisoned Cyclopes and Hecatonchires languished in eternal darkness. The young god shattered their chains and freed them, and in gratitude they swore loyalty to him. The Cyclopes, masters of divine craft, forged for Zeus a weapon unlike any before, the thunderbolt, a spear of storm and light. For Poseidon, they made the trident to command the seas. For Hades, the helm of darkness, granting invisibility to its wearer. Armed with these gifts, the Olympians turned the tide of war. Zeus's thunder echoed through the heavens, shaking the very air. Poseidon unleashed his trident, splitting mountains and raising waves that drowned the Titans' strongholds. From the shadows, Hades wore his helm and struck unseen, sowing confusion among their enemies. And then, from the depths of the earth, the Hecatonchires rose. 3 monstrous brothers, each with 100 hands, hurling boulders faster than arrows, each one crashing like a meteor from the heavens. The war reached its peak when Zeus confronted Cronus himself. Lightning met sickle as father and son clashed amidst storm and ruin. The sky burned white, and the world held its breath. At last, with one final strike of his thunderbolt, Zeus cast down Cronus and the Titans, shattering the age of their rule forever. Defeated, the Titans were banished to Tartarus, the deepest pit beneath the earth, where the Hecatonchires became their eternal jailers. Peace returned to the world, but it was not the peace of the Golden Age. It was the stillness after a storm, the birth of a new order. Zeus and his brothers divided the cosmos among themselves. To Zeus fell the heavens, where he ruled as king of gods and men. To Poseidon, the sea, deep and ungovernable. To Hades, the underworld, the silent realm of the dead. The earth itself, and all upon it, would be shared by all. From the ashes of war rose the age of Olympus. The Titans were gone, but their blood ran deep in the veins of the new gods. Their children would inherit not only their power, but also their pride, their passions, and their flaws. For though the heavens now belong to Zeus, The struggle for control of the cosmos was far from over. In the wake of war, the universe was reborn. The dust of battle settled, the skies cleared, and the rule of Zeus began. The gods who had fought beside him stood upon the heights of Mount Olympus, their new home, their throne above the mortal world. There, amidst white clouds and endless sunlight, they built a palace of marble and gold. From its shining halls, the laughter of immortals rang out across the heavens, and the air itself shimmered with divinity. Zeus sat upon his throne at the center of it all, crowned in lightning and law. Around him gathered the 12 great gods who would shape the ages to come. Below the shining peaks lay the mortal world, the realm of men, beasts, and rivers, of forests and mountains, watched over by their unseen creators. And beneath even that, far below the earth's roots, lay Tartarus, the prison of the defeated Titans, sealed by gates of bronze and guarded by monstrous beings of unending vigilance. The cosmos was divided into 3 realms: the sky, where Zeus ruled as king of gods and men; the sea, entrusted to Poseidon, whose trident stirred both calm and tempest; and the underworld, given to Hades, ruler of the dead. No mortal could cross between these worlds without divine decree, for each was bound by ancient laws older even than Zeus himself. Yet the earth, the mortal realm, belonged to no single god. It was a shared dominion, where the wills of all deities intertwined. The sun rose and set by Helios's chariot, the moon drifted under Artemis's gaze, and the seasons turned by Demeter's hand. The rivers spoke with the voices of minor gods, the forests whispered with nymphs and spirits, and every storm or tremor was a sign that the gods were never far away. But not all creation found its harmony easily. Beneath the earth's crust, Atlas, one of the elder Titans, was condemned to bear the weight of the heavens upon his shoulders, a punishment for siding with Cronus. There he stood at the edge of the world, forever straining beneath the dome of the sky. And deep within the mountains, Prometheus, a son of the Titan Iapetus, began to mold a new form of life. Beings made in the image of the gods, but mortal, fragile, and free. With his hands he shaped them from the clay of the earth, giving them strength and beauty. From Athena, he borrowed wisdom. From Apollo, grace. But Zeus looked upon this new creation with suspicion. The age of Titans had fallen because of rebellion, and he feared that humankind too might rise beyond their place. Thus, the world stood balanced between light and darkness, heaven and earth, creation and control. For though Zeus ruled as king, the seeds of defiance had already been sown. And soon, one act of forbidden compassion would ignite a conflict not of gods, but of ideals, the struggle between divine will and mortal spirit. Upon Mount Olympus, the new gods took their thrones, immortal, radiant, and powerful beyond measure. The age of the Olympians had begun. From their golden halls, they ruled over sky, sea, and earth, shaping the fates of gods and mortals alike. But though they were divine, they were not without flaw. Their loves, rivalries, and passions would mirror the very mortals they governed. And through them, the drama of existence would unfold. At the summit stood Zeus, lord of the sky and king of all gods. His voice was thunder, his will law. To him belonged the heavens and the storm, the lightning bolt his symbol of dominion. Yet Zeus was not merely ruler, he was a weaver of fate, protector of justice, and father of both gods and men. But with his power came desire. His heart was restless, and his affections spread far and wide. From divine unions and mortal liaisons alike came countless children, heroes, demigods, and monsters. The reign of Zeus was glorious, but never without chaos. Beside him sat Hera, his sister and queen. Majestic and proud, she ruled over marriage and family, the sanctity of home. Yet behind her, regal calm burned jealousy. For Hera endured the endless infidelities of Zeus, and her vengeance was legendary. She tormented his lovers and the children born of them, not out of cruelty alone, but from wounded dignity, the wrath of a goddess betrayed. Below the clouds, in the depths of the sea, reigned Poseidon, brother of Zeus, lord of the oceans. His trident could stir the calmest waters into storms, or summon islands from the deep. Sailors prayed to him for safe passage, and feared his wrath when he rose against them. To him, the sea was not only domain, but emotion itself. Vast, beautiful, and dangerous. In the shadowed realm beneath the earth ruled Hades, keeper of the dead. His kingdom was not one of torment, but of inevitability, a silent land where all souls must go. Though feared by mortals, Hades was just and stern, bound by duty more than malice. Yet even he could love, and his heart was captured by Persephone, the daughter of Demeter, whose abduction would one day cause the seasons themselves to change. Among the divine daughters of Olympus was Demeter, goddess of the harvest, giver of life and food. Her touch made fields blossom, her sorrow brought famine. Her love for her daughter Persephone would bind the world in an eternal rhythm of growth and decay, spring's joy and winter's grief. And there was Athena, born not from a mother's womb, but from Zeus's own mind. She emerged in armor, radiant and wise, a goddess of strategy, reason, and war tempered by intellect. To Athens, she gave her name and her protection, teaching mankind the arts of wisdom, craft, and justice. Apollo, son of Zeus and Leto, was the god of light, prophecy, and music. Golden-haired and eternally youthful, he embodied harmony and balance. Yet within his perfection dwelled pride, and those who defied him often met tragic fates. His twin sister, Artemis, ruled the hunt and the moon, protector of maidens and wild things. While Apollo's light guided the day, hers illuminated the night, calm, cold, and untamed. Then came Aphrodite, born from the foam of the sea, goddess of love and beauty. Where she walked, desire followed. Her allure was irresistible, yet her power was double-edged, for love could wound as deeply as it could heal. Many wars, hearts, and destinies would be decided by her whim. Ares, god of war, was her passionate and brutal counterpart, the embodiment of bloodlust and battle's chaos. To some, he was glory, to others, terror itself. Yet even he was not beyond love, for his heart belonged to Aphrodite, and together they danced the eternal rhythm of passion and destruction. Among the forges of Olympus worked Hephaestus, the lame god of fire and craft. Cast from the heavens by his own mother for his imperfection, he rose from pain to mastery, creating weapons and wonders for gods and heroes alike. His hands, though scarred, built the very palaces of Olympus, proof that even the broken could shape perfection. Swiftest of all was Hermes, messenger of the gods, patron of travelers, thieves, and tricksters. With winged sandals and silver tongue, he crossed freely between worlds, guiding souls to the underworld and carrying Zeus's commands. Clever, playful, and unbound, Hermes bridged the gap between gods and mortals. And at the edge of Olympus wandered Dionysus, god of wine, madness, and ecstasy, the youngest of the Olympians, born of both divine and mortal blood. His festivals blurred the line between order and chaos, sanity and frenzy, reminding even the gods that joy and destruction were often one and the same. Together, these 12 gods shaped the world. each divine, yet deeply human in their flaws and desires. Their rivalries would move mountains, their love affairs would shape empires, and though they stood immortal upon Olympus, their stories were far from eternal peace. For even among the gods, harmony is fleeting, and the seeds of rebellion, pride, and punishment were already beginning to grow. When the gods had taken their thrones and the cosmos stood in balance, the world remained quiet, beautiful, yet empty. The mountains waited for voices, the seas for ships, the winds for song. It was then that Prometheus, a titan of cunning mind and gentle heart, looked upon the barren earth and imagined something new. He was not like his kin, for while most titans sought power, Prometheus sought purpose. From the clay of the earth and the breath of the divine, he shaped figures in his own image, fragile, yet filled with spark. These were humans, the first mortals. He gave them the upright stance of the gods, eyes that looked toward the heavens, and minds capable of wonder. His brother, Epimetheus, bestowed gifts upon all other creatures: strength to the lion, flight to the bird, speed to the deer, until nothing remained for man. So Prometheus gave them something greater: intelligence. Yet the humans trembled in the cold and the dark. They feared the storm and hid from the night. Prometheus looked upon them with pity, for he saw in them the reflection of divine potential, chained by mortal weakness. And so, defying the will of Zeus, he climbed to the heavens and stole fire, the flame of the gods, carrying it down to mankind in a hollow reed. With fire came warmth and light, craft and civilization. Humanity learned to forge metal, to build, to dream. But when the light of mortal fire reached Olympus, Zeus beheld it with fury. In Prometheus's gift, he saw rebellion, the same spark that had once overthrown the Titans. For if mortals held power, what need had they for gods? With fire came warmth and light, craft and civilization. Humanity learned to forge metal, to build, to dream. But when the light of mortal fire reached Olympus, Zeus beheld it with fury. In Prometheus's gift, he saw rebellion, the same spark that had once overthrown the Titans. For if mortals held power, what need had they for gods? As punishment, Zeus devised a cruel fate. Prometheus was bound to the slopes of a lonely mountain, his arms chained to stone, his body exposed to the endless winds. Each day, an eagle descended from the sky to tear out his liver, and each night it grew back again. Immortal though he was, Prometheus would suffer for eternity, the price of defying divine order. Yet Zeus's vengeance did not end there. From the clay of the earth and the breath of the gods, Hephaestus and Athena crafted a new being, the first woman. The gods called her Pandora, the all-gifted, for each deity bestowed upon her a trait: beauty from Aphrodite, charm from Hermes, curiosity from Hera. Zeus placed in her hands a sealed jar, warning her never to open it. But curiosity, once born, is not easily silenced. When Pandora lifted the lid, the air filled with cries and smoke, and from within escaped every misery that would haunt humankind forever: sickness, greed, jealousy, death. In terror, she closed the jar, but it was too late. All that remained trapped inside was hope. From that day forward, mankind lived in struggle, toiling for survival, suffering and loving, building and destroying, guided always by the faint light of hope that Pandora had left behind. The age of innocence was over, and the mortal world was no longer separate from the divine. The poets would later speak of 5 ages of man: the golden, when mortals lived as gods; the silver, when pride led to their fall; the bronze, when war first stained the earth, the heroic, when demigods rose to glory, and the iron, the age of toil, sorrow, and endurance. And through it all, the fire of Prometheus still burned within their hearts, a reminder that even in defiance, creation and suffering walk hand in hand. As the ages turned and humankind spread across the world, the gods began to watch with new fascination. From the mingling of mortal and divine blood came a new kind of being, heroes. They were not as mighty as the gods, nor as frail as men, but stood between the two worlds, born to suffer, yet destined to be remembered. Their deeds would echo across the ages, shaping the legends that endure even now. The first of these champions was Perseus, son of Zeus and Danae. Cast into the sea as an infant, he grew to face the monstrous Medusa, whose gaze could turn men to stone. Guided by Athena's wisdom and armed with gifts from the gods, a mirrored shield, winged sandals, and a sword of divine steel, Perseus sought her lair. In the stillness of that cursed cavern, he crept upon the sleeping Gorgon and struck. Her head fell, and from her blood sprang Pegasus, the winged horse. With this triumph, Perseus became the first mortal to challenge the terror of the gods' own creation, and win. Then came Theseus, prince of Athens, who descended into the darkness beneath Crete to face the Minotaur, half man, half bull, born of divine punishment. Guided by the thread of Ariadne, Theseus entered the twisting labyrinth where no man had returned alive. There, in the echoing dark, he confronted the beast and slew it, freeing his people from tyranny. But when he sailed home, he forgot to change the black sails of mourning to white, and his father, thinking him dead, cast himself into the sea. The waves that bore Theseus home were named forever in his memory, the Aegean. Among all heroes, none shone brighter than Heracles, the son of Zeus and the mortal Alcmene. From his birth, Hera's jealousy hunted him, driving him to madness and sorrow. To atone for his sins, he was commanded to complete 12 labors, each more impossible than the last. To slay the Nemean lion whose hide no weapon could pierce, to capture the golden hind of Artemis, to cleanse the Augean stables in a single day, to wrestle the monstrous Hydra, and to bring back Cerberus, the hound of the underworld. Through strength, endurance, and relentless will, Heracles achieved them all. His story was not one of purity, but of perseverance. Proof that even the mightiest gods could not break the spirit of a mortal who refused to surrender. Others, too, rose in their time. Jason, leader of the Argonauts, sailed across the unknown seas in search of the Golden Fleece, a symbol of divine favor and kingship. With the help of the sorceress Medea, he braved harpies, giants, and fire-breathing bulls. Yet, like many heroes, Jason's triumph was shadowed by tragedy, for the gods seldom grant victory without cost. There was Bellerophon, who tamed Pegasus and slew the Chimera, a beast with the head of a lion, the body of a goat, and the tail of a serpent. His pride led him to attempt flight to Olympus itself, but Zeus sent a gadfly to sting Pegasus, and Bellerophon fell back to earth, doomed to wander in disgrace. And there was Atalanta, the swift-footed huntress who ran faster than any man and joined the hunt for the Caledonian boar. She stood as proof that heroism was not bound by birth or gender, but by courage and skill. Each of these tales, of triumph and downfall, love and betrayal, reflected the truth that bound mortals and gods alike, that greatness is never free of suffering, and that hubris, pride, and defiance always bear a price. The heroes became legends, their deeds immortalized in song and story, but even they could not escape the threads of fate. For every monster slain, another rose. For every victory, a sorrow. And soon, one final war, born of beauty, vengeance, and pride, would draw together gods, heroes, and mortals alike in a conflict that would end an age. In time, the paths of gods and mortals crossed in one final fateful story, a war born not of conquest, but of desire. It began with a single choice, one that would set the world ablaze for 10 long years. At a divine wedding upon Mount Olympus, the goddess Eris, spirit of discord, arrived uninvited. In vengeance, she cast among the gathered deities a golden apple inscribed with 4 simple words, "To the fairest." 3 goddesses laid claim to it: Hera, queen of the gods; Athena, goddess of wisdom and war; and Aphrodite, goddess of love and beauty. None would yield. To settle the dispute, they turned to a mortal, Paris, prince of Troy, known for his fairness and charm. Each goddess sought to sway his judgment. Hera offered power, Athena victory in war, but Aphrodite promised him the love of the most beautiful woman on earth, Helen, queen of Sparta, wife of King Menelaus. Paris chose love, and by that choice, he sealed his destiny and the doom of his people. When Helen was taken from Sparta and brought to Troy, the kings of Greece united under Agamemnon, brother of Menelaus, to reclaim her. The greatest heroes of the age assembled: Achilles, swift and invincible; Odysseus, cunning and wise; Ajax, strong and unyielding, and many more. The gods themselves took sides: Hera, Athena, and Poseidon for the Greeks; Aphrodite, Apollo, and Ares for the Trojans. From Olympus, Zeus looked on, allowing fate to weave its course. The war that followed was one of glory and ruin. For 10 years, the Greeks besieged Troy's mighty walls. The fields ran red, and the songs of victory turned to cries of grief. The greatest of warriors, Achilles, burned with rage after the death of his friend Patroclus, slain by Hector, prince of Troy. In vengeance, Achilles returned to battle, his armor blazing like fire. He struck Hector down before the city gates, and the gods wept for both men, for in their struggle they mirrored the divine tragedy of pride and destiny. But even the greatest heroes cannot escape mortality. Achilles fell soon after, struck by an arrow to his heel, the one place left unguarded by his mother's protection. His death marked the twilight of the heroic age. At last, the Greeks turned to cunning. On the counsel of Odysseus, they built a massive wooden horse, leaving it at Troy's gates as an offering of peace. The Trojans, believing the war was over, brought it within their walls. But when night fell, Greek soldiers emerged from within the hollow frame. The city burned as Troy fell, and with it, the last great empire of the mythic age. Yet one man's story did not end there. Odysseus, king of Ithaca, set sail for home and found himself lost upon the endless sea. His journey would last 10 years more, filled with wonders and trials that tested every part of his soul. He faced the Cyclops Polyphemus, whose eye he blinded with wit rather than strength. He resisted the songs of the sirens, who lured sailors to their deaths. He braved the sorcery of Circe, the temptations of Calypso, and the wrath of Poseidon, who sought to drown him for his defiance. At last, after 20 years of wandering, Odysseus returned home, weary, older, but unbroken. In his story, mankind saw itself, clever, flawed, and endlessly striving to return to what was lost. With the fall of Troy and the homecoming of Odysseus, the age of heroes came to an end. The gods grew distant, their voices fading from the world of men. But their stories of war and wisdom, love and betrayal, would endure forever, carried in the hearts and songs of those who remembered. When the echoes of war faded and the songs of heroes fell silent, the gods of Olympus watched from their thrones in stillness. The age of legends had ended. The world of men, once a playground for immortals, now belonged to humanity alone. The voices of Zeus and Hera, of Athena and Apollo, grew quiet, fading into wind and storm, mountain and sea. Yet though their forms were no longer seen, their presence never truly vanished. For the Greeks, the gods were never gone, only transformed. They lived on in every law and poem, every flame and ocean tide. The thunder that rolled across the sky was still Zeus's voice. The harvest that rose each spring still carried Demeter's blessing. The sea's fury still roared with Poseidon's pride. Even in silence, Olympus endured. Through the centuries, mortals continued to tell their stories, around fires, in temples, upon marble walls. Philosophers found wisdom in their myths. Artists carved their beauty into stone, and poets saw in them the reflection of the human soul. For the gods were not merely divine beings, they were the embodiment of human nature itself. Their love, jealousy, ambition, and despair were our own, cast upon the stars. Prometheus's fire still burns in every invention, every act of creation. Pandora's curiosity still stirs in every question we dare to ask. Achilles' rage, Odysseus' cunning, Hera's vengeance, Athena's reason, all live within us. We are the heirs of their stories, the continuation of their myths. And so, the legacy of the gods is not written only in stone or scripture, but in the human heart. It is in every triumph and tragedy, every act of courage and defiance. The old gods may have withdrawn to myth, but their power remains in art, in thought, in the endless hunger for meaning. As long as we tell their tales, Zeus will thunder, Athena will guide, and Aphrodite will whisper her temptations. The gods live on, not in the heavens above, but in the stories we pass down, the eternal mirror through which humanity sees itself. For this is not merely the story of the gods, it is the story of us.